and welcome to The Sensible Witch. I'm Julie, and this is a channel where we talk about common sense witchcraft. Today, I would like to talk about some of the tools that we use in witchcraft. Which ones I think are useful to my practice, and which ones I bought at the beginning of my practice and absolutely never used. There are a selection of those, and then there are tools that I use every time I do ritual. So let's jump right in with the tools that I almost never use. The first tool that I want to talk about is the athame. Athame is a ritual knife. It's double-sided. It has a blade on both sides, but this is not used for cutting physical things. This is used for cutting energy. The one I got is beautiful. It has engraving on the blade. It has this beautiful case that it goes into. And I spent quite a bit of money on this. I think it was around $80-ish maybe. And I've used it twice that I can think of. Maybe one extra time. The only two times I used this, I used it once when I was doing a full body aura cleanse. Just kind of rub you don't touch it to your skin, but kind of move the energy around your body with this. And then the second time I did this, I was doing my first ever group ritual, and I used this to cast my circle, but you can do it with your finger. Honestly, was this a smart purchase for me? Absolutely not. Like I said, I bought it years ago and I've only used it twice, so not a really smart purchase. And a lot of the books say, oh, you guys need all this stuff. You don't need all this stuff. So the second thing I got was a bowline. A bowline is a white handled knife. So this one is bone, and it also has a really pretty carved blade on it. So this is typically used for cutting. Actually, you cut your herbs. If you're out in the woods, you're supposed to bring this with you. You can use it to cut your herbs off the plants, and you can use it to chop up things during ritual. Absolutely never use this thing. Never once. Never once cut an herb with it. Whoops, knocked it into my microphone. Never use this, so not a great purchase. And then something that I didn't choose specifically came in the witch casket. Y'all know I love my witch caskets. I have a number of wands, and I love this one. It's really easy to hold because it's got this little finger notch in it, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's well carved, and there's some you see little stars carved into the bottom of this. Absolutely beautiful. I've never used a wand for anything. I have another wand that's made out of, it's a long piece of selenite with some other crystals tied onto it. I've used that one a couple of times, but honestly, not very much, and never used I have several other wands that I got from Witch Casket. They're so cute. I got a little wand stand. They're sitting up there and have my witchy vibe going, but never use this. Again, you can use your finger. So something that I never use. So let's move on to some things now that I absolutely always use. This one I showed you guys in another video. This is my little besom. It's a cinnamon broom. It smells wonderful. The pieces are falling off of it. It has all, it's really cute, colorful. You can make these on your own for not very much. You can buy the cinnamon brooms at the dollar store. They often come out in the fall, So if you're looking for them, that might be a good time to get them, or I'm sure you can buy them online. If you just type cinnamon broom in there, you can find one. Decorate it with your own things if you like, a little bell. But I use this to cleanse my ritual space before I start every single time. So I do use this item every time I do ritual. The second item that I often use also in ritual is my little silver bell. It looks like it needs a cleaning. So again, I will use this to cleanse the ritual space often. So I use this one. I also have bells on every single door in my house, including the pantry door, just because I have so many witches bells that I keep getting from different places. I made a bunch of them, and then I kept getting more and more from the witch casket. So I've got witches bells all over my house, every single door. Use them all the time. So the next thing I use all the time, I just bought a set of these little glass bowls, and I use them for a couple of things. I use them for holding my herbs when I'm doing some spell work. Here comes Jack again. He's been extra needy today, so maybe he'll stay back there and let me do my thing. And the other thing that I use these for that's absolutely fabulous is offerings. So whenever I'm leaving offerings, whether they're herbs or some kind of food or some kind of drink, I will often put them in a dish like this. I did some offerings just the other night. I had 3 dishes up on my ancestor and goddess altars. So these are fabulous. Great for spell work and offerings. So suggest those. Also, we use a lot of jars. I like this little size because it'll pretty much hold all the spell ingredients that I want it to hold. I bought, keep whacking the microphone, sorry y'all. I bought a set of these. I've used most of them. A lot of them are gone already. Some of them I have spells in. And then when the spells are done, I make such a mess of these jars. Sometimes I just throw them away. Sometimes I clean them out to use another time. But I do use a lot of jars. And I have the little tiny ones that I got from the dollar store that I showed you guys in the last video. I use those too if I'm out foraging, grabbing dirt or plants or things. So the next thing I use, again, almost every spell, I use my little mortar and pestle, and I have several of these. This one is stone, and it's fantastic. You know, put your herbs down there and then grind them with intention, and then you can kind of direct your energy down into the bowl. So again, I use this every time I do spell work. I do a lot of candle magic, y'all. Most of the stuff I do is candle magic, and my candles are dressed with oils, which is something else that I use every single spell. I use tons and tons of oils and herbs. So I'll write my intention on the candle with a little, I have some tools that are made for that, but again, you can use a safety pin or a nail to write in a candle, just anything that's kind of sharp. You can use a screwdriver, you can use to write in the candle. And then I put the oil on, and then I coat it with the herbs. So, and then something else that I use very, very often is a cauldron. And I have several sizes. I have these little teeny ones. Isn't that cute? I think this one was one of the witch casket ones. I think I've gotten 2 cauldrons from the witch casket. So this is one of the ones, if I only have like a single chime candle or maybe 3, I'll put them together in a cauldron like this, tie them up, and let it burn down safely in this. I also have on the floor here a large cauldron. Y'all, I got this at Target for $5. During Halloween, go to Target, go to Walmart, look in their Halloween decor. You might be able to find something very reasonable. And it's ceramic, so I can burn things. I kind of store, I have some cleansing sticks that I store in here, other things. And then something that I also highly recommend is at least one set of tongs. I have, again, several. I have big tongs for the big cauldron. I have little tongs for the little cauldron. But if you're burning your petition or your sigil or whatever, you don't really want to be holding that in your fingers. So put it in a pair of tongs. Again, you can get kitchen tongs. You can buy these at the dollar store, y'all. They sell kitchen stuff at the dollar store. You can get a set of tongs for $1. And save your fingers from potentially catching on fire, because that's not good. Going to the ER for 3rd-degree burns is not something I want to do as a witch. So let's talk about candles and candle holders. So typically I use chime candles for my spells. The reason being is because they come in a number of colors. They are big enough to carve your intentions into, but they're small enough that they burn down pretty quickly, because when you're doing a spell, most of the time when you do the spell, you want to wait for your candle to burn all the way down. So I use a lot of this size. I will use larger candles for offerings. I have a number of candles for my goddess that are like in a jar. They're a little bit bigger candle, but I typically use the chime candles for spells. And then my favorite chime candle holders both came from Witch Casket. This is the first one, and I went back on one of their sales and bought a second one. This is the same material that's used in the cauldron. It's a heavy cast iron, and then it has this little moat around the candle where you can put herbs or whatever, put a sigil in there, whatever you're working for the spell, and then you put your chime candle right in there, and it's your whole spell contained together. These are absolutely fabulous. Like I said, I got one and I loved it so much I bought a second one just so I'd have some extras. But then in the last, I think 2 caskets ago, we got this similar one from Witch Casket. And it has, again, the place for the candle, and then a little kind of well around. It's not really a moat, just kind of a spider web. You can put your herbs in here and your petition or your sigil or whatever you're doing. Then pop the candle in there and light it up. These are also an option. So you can get the little tiny candle holders, and then the chime candle just goes down in there. So if you're working with an altar or somewhere where you don't have a lot of space, this is a great option because it will hold your candle. The only problem with something like this is that the wax may get out of control. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. If you're using a candle holder that's small, the wax may get out of control. I'm always getting wax all over my altar cloth, y'all. I showed you how to get it out, but it's a pain. And one day I burned a hole right in my goddess's altar cloth. The candle burned down a lot quicker than I thought. I wasn't watching it, y'all. I'm the worst fire hazard witch. Do not do what I do with fire, because I'm not the safest person when it comes to fire. But I use it all the time. So I try to be more careful. And since I've had some candles overflow, I have several of these larger candle plates. Again, these are fantastic. I bought one. I think I bought it from Amazon, and then like a week later, I got my witch casket, and there was another one in my witch casket. It had a little bit of different design on it. You can get these in really fun designs. I think this is the witch casket one, but like I said, I have one exactly like this. It has a little bit of a different design, but you can take your candle holder and put it in there, and then when the candle runs over, the plate will catch it instead of your altar cloth, which is not cool. Also, if you're using a pillar candle or something else, I have little kitty shaped candles. Sometimes I use those when I'm doing magic with my familiar Natalie, my kitty that I lost. I'll put one in one of these plates so it'll catch all the yuckiness going out of there. So you don't need a lot of tools to do your witchcraft. And in the beginning, don't go out and just buy everything like I did, because it's a waste of money. Figure out what you're going to use, what you're not going to use. Also, the type of magic that you're going to do. Um, I don't do ceremonial magic. There's nothing wrong with ceremonial magic. It's just not the way I choose to do my magic. But some people who do ceremonial magic may use some of these tools more often. A stang is also something that's used in ceremonial magic, and that can cost you some hardy money too. A stang is a very long stick that's probably going to be taller than you are. A lot of people make beautiful stangs, but I haven't done the magic yet that I need a stang for. You may, again, your type of magic may dictate what tools you use. If you're not a candle magic person like I am, you probably don't need all the chime candles and candle holders and everything. So spend your money at the beginning on books. And I have a video on which books I recommend, especially for beginners. There's some fabulous stuff out there. Buy some books, read up on it, and then figure out what type of magic you want to do, and then kind of go and buy your tools from there. Otherwise, you'll end up like me with a bunch of crap that you spend a lot of money on, and it looks really cool, but you never use. So those are my ideas on witchcraft tools. So what tools are your favorites? What do you use most of all? And what did you buy that you are now regretting? Comment on it below and we can have a discussion about it. Also, please like and subscribe. That helps my channel to grow. And follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I'll leave the links in the description box below. Also, there is a link to my store on Etsy that I left below. Some of the magical oils that I use are available in that store, as well as a bunch of other fun witchy stuff, clothes and home goods and things like that. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.